Good morning, everybody. We have a mixed trade in the grain markets here early on Wednesday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. December corn futures down 2 cents at 538 and 3/4. November soybeans up 2 and 3/4 at 1354 and a half. September Chicago wheat is up 6.5 at 640 and a quarter. September Kansas City wheat up 3 cents at 614 and 3/4. September spring wheat up 2 and 3/4 cents at 864 and a half. If you guys are listening on the podcast, as always, appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like the channel. Make sure you like the videos and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you need some additional assistance from me, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan in the upper right-hand corner. For $49 a month, I offer a subscription service. It includes my morning email, which goes out every business day at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. That includes every overnight headline that you need to be aware of, all my grain marketing recommendations, all sorts of interesting charts and graphics. My subscriber-only videos are included in the emails, and they are also sent via text message. This is a monthly deal that can be canceled at absolutely any time. So certainly check that out, guys. It's a ton of information for a really low price, and it's a good deal. I did a video yesterday that I sent out to subscribers that I think a lot of you guys might be interested in. This is regarding inflation and grain prices and how inflation may affect grain marketing and your on-farm margins, budgets, that sort of thing. Kind of interesting. And we did have some inflation type stuff in the news yesterday, and that's what I'll lead off with here today. We had our CPI print out yesterday from the government, and CPI is the Consumer Price Index. It essentially gauges what consumers are paying for goods and services. Inflation is increasing rapidly. CPI rose 5.4% year over year. It was up 0.9% on the month, and that was the largest increase both annually and monthly since 2008. The government continues to stick with this idea that inflation is transitory or temporary, and maybe that's the case. I know that one of the big components of this was the used auto market as an example, and that accounted for a big portion of the increase. I've got the CPI annual chart on my screen here, and at 5.4%, you're at the highest level on an annual basis since 2008. You're still not anything compared to what we saw in the 1970s or early 1980s when inflation was running double digits. But this is of concern for a number of reasons, for a number of different markets. Jerome Powell is going to testify in front of Congress here today, and the trade will be very interested to hear what he has to say. Yesterday on this inflation news, the stock market sold off. U.S. dollar increased, and the general idea here is that inflation is running at a faster rate than what the government would like to see, and perhaps this means that stimulus has to end quicker than expected. Maybe the government or the Fed bond purchases rather have to be tapered quicker than expected. Maybe even interest rates have to rise quicker than expected. So there will be a lot of eyes on Jerome Powell as he testifies for the Fed here later today. Rains move across South Dakota and Nebraska this morning. So you've got this system that is going to move across a good chunk of the Corn Belt here over the next few days. This system on the radar sits over about the eastern half of South Dakota this morning, a good chunk of Nebraska. It's going to move into southern Minnesota, Iowa, and then into the central and eastern Corn Belt by the end of the week. Now, following this system, there is really not much in the forecast here. When you get into next week, it's warmer and drier. So assuming that these rains all come to fruition here these next few days, there's not going to be much following that. So are these rains that we're going to see here over the next 3 or 4 days, is this enough to carry our corn crop nationally to a trend line yield or not? I think that's a big question that traders are probably asking right now, because we know, of course, typically the trade believes that the corn crop is made in July, and these rains are going to be about it for this month the way that it looks. There's really not a whole lot in the forecast following this week. NOPA will release June soybean crush data tomorrow morning. Traders estimate that NOPA members crushed 159.5 million bushels of beans in June. That'd be down from 163.5 in May, down from 167.3 in June of last year. Crush has been below expectations for the last few months. I think mainly because bean supplies are just really tight. Also, plant maintenance being blamed for some of this. USDA did revise its old crop crush number lower by 5 million bushels earlier this week. Domestic processors typically account for about half of all demand for U.S. soybeans, and USDA is projecting that it will be exactly 50% for the new crop marketing year. Russia's wheat crop may not be as good as expected. Well-followed group Sova Econ lowered its estimate to 82.3 million metric tons. They were 84.6 previously. USDA is at 85. I guess early yields are not that great. They're blaming kind of a dry fall and saying that the crop never really recovered. Today is last trading day for July grain futures. Make sure you take a look at any remaining open positions, although I'm sure you were made aware of any positions in the July corn market in particular, given that big move yesterday. And the outside markets here, or actually I'll talk cattle here for a second. Cattle were up yesterday. August cattle were up almost $2. October cattle up $1.40, and then more muted gains in the deferreds. Feeders were up a little bit. Some cash, 119 to 121. Yesterday, nothing overly exciting. Outside markets, we have the S&P up 5 points. The Dow's up 20. U.S. dollars a little bit lower. Bonds are up a little bit. Crude oil is down 34 cents in the August WTI at 74.92. Everyone have a wonderful day today. I will talk to you same time tomorrow.